Jordan sat at his computer, staring at the brand new virtual reality headset sitting on his desk. Or at least that was what it most closely resembled. In actual fact, it was a beta test version of some next-gen AI and VR tech that was being built. His friend Scotty had given it to him as a gift to test out. Scotty worked for a futuristic tech company, and this was not the first weird invention he had passed on to his friend. "You will need to give it access to some of your personal information," Scotty had warned. "The AI uses it to build your virtual avatar, but trust me, it's all worth it once you are plugged into its virtual universe." Jordan flipped through the setup guide impatiently, and after barely any reading at all, he slipped the headset onto his head, connecting the various sensors. His face, his eyelids, his neck, and a long series of silver threads that slipped down the back of his shirt and onto his spine. He took a deep breath and pressed the green activate button. A jolt of electricity rushed down his spine. It was so powerful he cried out and collapsed onto his soft leather gaming chair. "What was that?" he whispered to himself, sitting up weakly, what seemed like moments later. He stumbled out of the chair. His body seemed weird, smaller and lighter somehow. His chair was exactly as it was, but he now found himself standing in a blank, white room. He looked down at his body and was shocked to see that he was now a woman, and a pretty one at that. He admired the curves of his new figure, and the way his long hair fell around his shoulders. His fingers were long and slender, and the tips were a soft glossy shade of pink. "No, no, no," he said to himself. The voice that spoke was softer and more delicate than what he was used to, but he was shocked to notice it shared a familiarity with his regular voice. This wasn't just a female avatar. It was a female version of him. "Help," the voice called out, and in response a set of neon green overlays sprung to life in front of him. It was a heads-up display.
"Please select help and support."
Jordan nodded, and gestured with one slender pink-tipped hand towards the help button on the right corner of his vision.
"Good evening, Jordan, I am Valencia, how may I be of assistance?"
A polite and somewhat too polished virtual assistant voice filled his head. "Why is my avatar female?"
Your avatar gender, age, and appearance is built by a complex series of computations based on your social media presence, browsing history, and online purchases, as well as various interactions within your community.
The voice droned on. What on earth was going on? Jordan thought, why would it think I was female? Sure, I might have searched for a few girly things, maybe those last few purchases on Amazon. Then again, I do like to look at heels and the odd dress or two. But surely it wouldn't assume I was a girl because of that. "Stop," he said, shutting off Valencia mid-sentence. "How do I switch back to male?"
Switching back is done via the settings menu, submenu avatar, subcategory appearance, subcategory gender. Please note changes of this nature may take up to 24 hours to process and may cause the system to be unavailable on the current account.
Okay, he called out, and started flicking back through the options until he found the gender switch. A soft little fingertip hovered over the glowing neon button. "Maybe I can just try it out a little," he said to himself. It didn't take long for Jordan to find the Avatar Tools application. A full-length mirror with soft golden lighting around the edges appeared out of thin air, and for the first time Jordan found herself staring at a slightly amused, slightly flushed young woman. The AI had done a great job. She could have been Jordan's twin. The same soft green eyes stared back at her from the mirror, but bigger and wider. The normally short cropped brown hair was flowing in messy waves around her shoulders. She even rolled her bottom lip over her teeth, like Jordan did when she was nervous. "Makeup tools," Jordan said, and a selection of neon pink options slid into view. There were lots of choices and lots of colors. Lots of variations ranging from sweet to downright trollop. Jordan found it surprisingly easy to navigate the options, and soon a pretty young lady smiled back at the mirror. The sight of it made her stomach warm, almost as if looking beautiful made her feel excited. Made her want something else, something more. The warmth in her belly moved lower to a spot just above the junction of her thighs, a spot that Jordan had not felt much before. Her voice was soft. "Valencia? Is the avatar anatomically correct?"
All generated avatars offer fully compatible human experiences.
Jordan stepped back, her eyes running down the length of her reflection. She was dressed in what looked like a pair of dark gray bike shorts and a dark gray tank top. They seemed like some system-generated, default clothing. Clothing tools, Jordan said, and more options slid across the heads-up display. Jordan stared, her finger hovering over dresses, and then after a nervous pause, it switched quickly over to lingerie. Her heart thudding, she selected a pair of matching bra and panties. The switch was instant, the dark gray disappearing and being replaced with sheer, white lace with delicate pink edging. The lingerie molded to the soft curves of Jordan's figure. She was slender in places and curvy in others, especially curvy around the rear, she thought, as her reflection turned around. Her fingers flew to her mouth as she tried to suppress a giggle and failed. Jordan stared. She had expected to feel a sense of excitement at seeing the body more exposed, but somehow instead all she felt was slightly embarrassed and very silly. Something in her head was instead making her appreciate the delicate lacework on the panties and the bra. In her memories, she somehow already knew what this body looked and felt like. She knew if her fingers slipped lower over the lacework, the heat in her belly would become unbearable. She didn't want that. She wanted something else. Someone else. Her fingers danced back over the neon buttons, sliding back to dresses, and then mini dresses. She chose a short little black dress with tiny spaghetti straps and a lace-edged bodice. She looked stunning. She turned slowly in front of the mirror, her happiness and confidence was through the roof. Just as she tried to wipe the silly smile off her face, something dinged on the heads-up display. It was a notification. She swiped down and a message from Scotty popped up. "Hey, where are you? Use the meetings app to teleport to us. I'm at After Hours 18+, and it's crawling with girls." Scotty. She had forgotten all about him. Or had she? She pictured him waiting at the bar, his tall frame. He was probably even taller now that she had lost a few inches from her male self. For a moment she found herself picturing standing with Scotty, staring up at him, those blue eyes, looking down at hers. Would he recognize her? Or would he hit on her instead? Her belly was liquid. She stared at the message and then hit reply. "Sorry, not feeling too well, might test out the AI thing tomorrow night instead." She swiped back at the buttons and chose heels from the selection. Her reflection hovered delicately in open-toed black heels, little pink tipped toes peeking out. "Scotty, meet Jenna," she whispered to herself, and pressed on the button marked, "Meetings." This was going to be a night they both would not forget easily.